means that we have to then either form a different part of action. So we'd either have to bring a new form of action to court, either compelling the president as he is ordered to do by the Constitutional Court.
Fatima Lohia, thank you very much. Candidate attorney at Section 27, that's the Copyright Amendment Bill. It's got to be signed by the 21st of September. Will it be done, I ask? Let's see what happens. Give us a call what do you make of that? There's a lot we could talk about with the Copyright Amendment Bill, but there's plenty other texts and WhatsApps coming through. In a moment, we're going to get an update on the township entrepreneurship that is being told is ripe for innovation. It's maybe difficult choice of words there. It's ripe for innovation. And Thabo Bester's case has been thrown out of court. He's looking to take a laptop into his cell with him. All of that coming up after news headlines at 4:30.
Thanks, John. And with the news headlines, good afternoon. The case involving former Cape Town MMC Malusi Boy and 9 others will resume next month after bail totaling 1.5 million rand was granted. The Gauteng Cocta Department has called on all municipalities across the province to closely monitor water systems to determine whether the plans they've implemented to improve the infrastructure are working. And new reports on the state of democracy around the world have painted a generally bleak picture of increasing disengagement and political violence. And those are your headlines. Greg will have your full update at 5.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the M1 southbound in central Johannesburg slow moving towards Crown Interchange. Sandton Drive westbound is slow moving towards Winnie Mandela Drive. The N1 southbound in Midrand has a stationary vehicle before Buccleuch Interchange. In Pretoria, Mabopane Highway northbound has delays towards Theo Martins and Roger Dyson Road westbound queuing towards Voortrekker Road. In KZN, the M7 has roadworks with traffic restrictions towards the Bel Air Road, Waxley Road junction. The N3 has roadworks with traffic restrictions between the Pyramids Hotel and Van Reenen Village, and the N3 in Escort has roadworks reported with traffic restrictions near the Escort Ultra City services. In Cape Town, the M3 southbound is slow moving towards Rhodes Drive, the N2 Nelson Mandela Boulevard outbound slow moving towards Hospital Bend, the N1 outbound is slow moving towards Okavango Road, and Main Road northbound slow moving through Cork Bay. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tumi Nkgapele.
Tumi, good afternoon. Do you understand the new Champions League?
I just know that it's a lot of fixtures and a lot of matches for players, and it's unfair, and I feel like it doesn't take care of the players.
I like it. I like it. Controversy. Let's go. What's happening?
Well, starting off with football, South Africa's most successful football coach, Peter Mosimane, says that he's now focused on landing a national team coaching job rather than club football. The 3-time CAF Champions League winner has been unemployed since leaving Saudi Arabian club Aba FC in June, and now he's keen to return to the FIFA World Cup stage.
The World Cup I've done with the country was once. So maybe with the national team, I must say yes, that's more interests me, national team. And also, it doesn't mean national team, then you go to anyone. You want a national team that you think you can go to the semi-final. And if you can go to the semi-final, go to the final. Or in your final, you might as well as win it. Cool. So that's how some of the things like that. Unless it's a club, again, on space that I think we need to play more in space. Saudi will always be there also. Qatar will always be there.
Meanwhile, Orlando Pirates head coach Jose Rivero says that he is urging their supporters to play an important role again this season as they prepare for the Betway Premiership visit of Chipa United to Orlando Stadium tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Pirates defended their MTN 8 and Nedbank Cup titles last season and made a late charge in the league to snatch second place from Stellenbosch FC to qualify for Africa's elite club competition. So now he's just expressed hoping that more fans will be at the stadium tomorrow just to keep them motivated. Elsewhere, talking about the Champions League, Manchester City midfielder Rodri says that players could actually go on strike due to the expanded calendar. City play in this 36-team Champions League, in which all clubs play 8 league fixtures before going on to the next round. City will also compete in an expanded Club World Cup at the end of the season, meaning players will play more or less 60 to 70 games in one season.
Yeah, I think we're close to that. I mean, because it's easy to understand. I mean, if we're asking something, and I think it's something general, I think you ask any player, he will say the same. It's not like the opinion of Rodri or whatever. No, I think it's a general opinion of the players. And if it keeps this way, it will be a moment that we have no other option. I really think, but let's see. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's something that worries us because we are the guys.
And John, I think it brings me to a question about players. Is it good for players to get too much playtime versus some rest in between?
I played, sorry, I wasn't concentrating. Who did you play? Rodri. I played a soundbite from Allison today as well, from Liverpool. And he was saying, no, we don't want to play the game. Nobody's actually asked the players. So I think if the players had a chance, they would like a little rest. But, it's entertainment, it's money. So I don't know the answer. I'm not a football player, so I don't know the answer.
Player welfare is the big question.
Yes, and I think the unions will have a say in this eventually.
Absolutely.
You can't expect them to play. So it'll be twice a week, every week for 5 months.
Sure.
Yeah, it's rough.
They won't spend time with their families.
That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of touring as well.
Yeah.
Because they'll go into Europe. Yeah.
Hectic.
Sure. Too much.
Well, moving on to cricket. In news just coming in, Proteas one-day international captain Themba Bavuma has been ruled out of the first ODI against Afghanistan due to illness. Aiden Markram is going to be standing in as captain, and we'll definitely keep you up to date with this developing story. Meanwhile, fresh from their first ever test series win over Pakistan, Bangladesh will chase more cricket history when they face India in Chennai from Thursday rather. Now, this 2-0 sweep in Pakistan sparked celebrations at home a month after political turmoil and deadly protests in Bangladesh as the autocratic former premier. But a 2-test series in India is a far more daunting prospect because Bangladesh have never won any of their 13 previous matches, losing 11 and drawing 2. Then in rugby, Sonny Bill Williams has voiced a strong appeal for New Zealand rugby to overhaul its selection criteria, pushing for significant changes for a struggling All Blacks side. Williams basically expressed his frustrations. So this is after the All Blacks lost their rugby championship title for the first time since 2019. According to reports, the All Blacks coach Scott Robinson is restricted by a policy that prevents him from selecting players based overseas unless they have committed to returning home to play Super Rugby Pacific the following season. And this policy excludes key players such as World Cup halfback pairing of Aaron Smith and Richie Mo'unga, as well as the likes of Shannon and Brody. So it'll be interesting to see how that is going to go.
They got beaten by the Springboks. Just accept the loss.
If I was New Zealand, I'd also complain.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, if the Boks lost, we would be moaning about something. So,
do you think so?
Oh yeah, of course we would. If the Boks lost 2 games in a row if they got beaten by Argentina, which New Zealand were, they got beaten by South Africa twice, then we would be moaning if it was the other way around for sure.
Okay.
We'd be yeah, we would. We'd be asking for better players, but we don't because we got the best players on the planet.
That's my thing. So my thing is, are we sore losers?
No, we're not sore losers. We just expect better because we are the best team in the world. Come on. Am I right on that? I'm not even going to put a bet on that because we are the best team.
You are right.
Yeah.
But that said, I'll have more on other sports in the next hour.
SAFM values your views. Be an active citizen.
The following advert is directed at HR and finance executives.
Hi there.
Hi.
Your talk on employee benefits earlier was very insightful.
Oh, thank you.
I'm trying to figure out who I should connect with on how best to structure our company's employee benefits. Any suggestions?
Well, I trust Old Mutual Corporate Consultants. They offer expert advice on optimal investment strategies, retirement fund management, employee benefits design, and much more. This means you'll get the best advice on your employees' future. Visit oldmutual.co.za/employee benefits and go from questions to solutions with Old Mutual Corporate. Old Mutual Corporate Consultants is a division of Fairburn Consult, FSP 9328, a licensed FSP and member of the Old Mutual Group. T's and C's apply.
Kickstart your journey to success in 2025 with the Durban University of Technology. DUT offers programs in the faculties of Accounting and Informatics, Applied Sciences, Arts and Design, Engineering and the Built Environment, Health Sciences and Management Sciences, open for applications for 2025. Applications close on 30th September 2024, but dates may vary. Visit dut.ac.za for a full list of available programs and entry requirements. Apply now through the Central Applications Office by visiting cao.ac.za.
The world's best cooking show is finally here. MasterChef South Africa Season 5. You'll meet 20 talented home cooks from around Mzansi, noma uphumaphi, and no matter your favorite dish, see if the chefs can handle the heat in the kitchen in a race to be crowned MasterChef South Africa. Every Saturday, 7:30 p.m. only on S3, Channel 193. MasterChef South Africa, the world's best cooking show, proudly sponsored by Pick n Pay.
Congratulations to Mzansi's latest Powerball winner, who won the life-changing jackpot of over 107 million rand on Friday. Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 41 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday for your chance at winning millions. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
And it's good afternoon. Makwe Masalela, Chief Investment Officer at Makwe Fund Managers. Outsurance, some results coming out today in the markets. What's happening, Makwe?
Afternoon to you, Ashraf. Yes, Outsurance, they service 2.8 million policies across SA, Australia and Ireland, and their strong earnings were supported by a good operational performance and also investment income results. Remember, our monthly premiums get to be invested, and hence their normalized earnings were up 20.3% and full-year ordinary dividend up 29.4%, with a special dividend up 370%. Not surprising that the share price is up 9%. And not since the lead up to the financial crisis in 2007 have bond traders been so divided about the size of the US rate cut, and hence we see a weaker dollar, positive stock market sentiments, also a solid sentiment across the commodity complex, while Africa's central banks will continue to make monetary policy decisions with one eye on the exchange rate, with central banks prepared to continue to run quite significantly real positive policy rates to limit currency depreciation, and stocks got a further boost from better than expected US retail sales. We are getting our July retail sales tomorrow, and fears of weaker demand in China kept gains as oil prices got support from prospects of a rate cut. Brent crude is up 1.2% at $73 a barrel, and the yellow metal is flat but remained close to record highs amid growing conviction that the US will cut interest rates by a wide margin. And as we said, it's flat at 2,587. Platinum is down 0.1% at 984. And before the much-awaited rate cut, global stocks are up, with the JSE up a whopping 1.4%. But the rand is flat at 17.62 against the US dollar, 23.26 against the pound, and 19.59 against the euro.
Thank you very much to Makwe Masalela, keeping us updated with the finances. More coming up in an hour's time.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM.
It looks as if the Greater Johannesburg region of the ANC are holding a memorial service for Pravin Gordhan. Panyaza Lesufi, the Gauteng Premier, is busy speaking at the moment. Let's go live.
Pay tribute to an outstanding son of our revolution, a fearless cadre, a strategist, a cadre that embraced non-racialism when non-racialism was not a fashion, a cadre that dedicated his life to the liberation of our people and the building of a truly non-racial democratic South Africa. On behalf of the ANC in our province, we want to send our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and comrades. Comrades, I met Comrade Pravin when I was a tiny student at the University of Natal. We received an information that Operation Vula was cracked by the apartheid regime, and the entire leadership of the unit were arrested and they were in prison. We were requested to give them support, to take care of them, and to be couriers of information so that our national leadership may know what the apartheid regime managed to crack so that they can strategize accordingly. When I met these cadres when I was a young person, I was angry with the apartheid regime, but I was comforted by these comrades purely because the entire leadership of Operation Vula represented what South Africa was. It has all races its leadership, and it was determined to ensure that our people are emancipated. Comrades, let's all accept we've lost a soldier here. We've lost somebody that loved our country. We've lost somebody that was fearless, somebody that was determined, but most importantly, somebody that laid those particular building blocks for a democratic South Africa. Brave, he was. Fearless, he was. Loving, he was. But above all things, he was a true member of the African National Congress and our alliance structures. At no particular stage that this brave cadre of our revolution turned his back against the African National Congress. At no particular stage, when he was not even elected in National Executive Council of the ANC, at no particular stage where he was recalled from government, at no particular stage when he was undermined and insulted, did he ever utter a word of insult to the leadership of the ANC and the African National Congress. He remained true when he was alive, and he remained true even in his death, because in him we saw a true cadre of the African National Congress. Comrades, what Comrade Pravin is sending to us is one thing. We must remain upright at all times. What Comrade Pravin is sending to us, that power must be utilized to liberate our people, and power must not be utilized to undermine and deal with other comrades that does not share the similar vision with you. That we must always remember, comrades, that our people have given us power, and time has arrived in all formations and all manifestations that we must start to utilize this particular power. We can't be in office forever. We must convert ourselves from being in office and be in power and take charge of all institutions of power in our comrades. We might have lost elections in 2024, but the reality is that the African National Congress is in charge of 8 provinces, and the African National Congress is in charge nationally. We must use that power to liberate our people. We must use that power to reclaim what belongs to us. We must use that power to finalize the last leg of our liberation so that poverty can be defeated and our people can be empowered. Comrades, our freedom will be meaningless if majority of our people remain unemployed. Our freedom will be meaningless if majority of our people will live in fear of criminals. Our freedom will be meaningless if the resources of this particular country remains in the hands of the few while the majority are starving almost dead. We might have lost the elections. We've not lost our mission to liberate our people. I call upon you, comrades. We are coming from a workshop to discuss renewal, and we are accepting one thing. Renewal is our agenda, and our agenda is renewal. We will rebuild the ANC. We will bring back the ANC that will defend our people. We will not leave this movement because we are out of power. We will not leave.
Panyaza Lesufi there seems like he's campaigning at a memorial service for Pravin Gordhan. He did mention Pravin Gordhan a little bit, but he seems to have moved away from that. We're going to be talking about the township entrepreneurship ecosystem. We're going to find out what's been holding it back and how we can take advantage of it and how we can get people out of poverty, because apparently 90% of new jobs must be created through entrepreneurship by 2030. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Devastated by the brutal murder of his wife, John Luther returns in the second season of Luther to policing in a different world. With his old unit gone, Luther finds himself working in the newly created Serious and Serial unit, headed by former police complaints officer Martin Schenk. And now, a strange and mysterious masked man wanders the streets of London, carrying out ritualistic murders in historic locations, working his way up to one final masterpiece. Immerse yourself in a world-class drama with Luther Season 2, Mondays to Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Starts Tuesday the 10th of September on S3. Channel your inner drama with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up.
S3. And we went on a water safari, and Mom spotted a hippo, and it said, "Grrr."
There is a place where you can see wonder and the wild, with breathtaking scenery and endless landscapes. Enjoy good food and embrace great taste.
And the next day we went to the Reed Dance. I saw the maidens handing over reeds to the mighty Zulu king, and the Zulu warriors chanting, "Baye!"
Explore all this and more in the magical Zulu Kingdom.
This message is brought to you by KZN Tourism and Film Authority.
18 teams are back on the hunting ground. No one wants a loss or a draw. They are all searching for maximum points in every encounter. This is the Bundesliga. Football as it's meant to be. Do not miss out on the 2024-2025 Bundesliga season. Catch the action live on Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Also available on sabcsport.com. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Congratulations to Mzansi's latest Powerball winner, who won the life-changing jackpot of over 107 million rand on Friday. Play Powerball and play Powerball Plus for 41 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday for your chance at winning millions. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial star 120 star 7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
You're listening to the National Pulse on SAFM.
According to the South African National Development Plan, 90% of new jobs must be created through entrepreneurship by 2030. The Gordhan Institute of Business Science Entrepreneurship Development Academy has done research onto the lived experiences that entrepreneurs live in the townships and reveals the characteristics of entrepreneurs in South African townships. Lerato Mahlasela is the managing executive of the corporate education at Gibbs Business School. Lerato, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. I think we know about some of the challenges that township entrepreneurs experience. How can we turn those round? Does your study point us in the right direction to help people who are trying to start businesses in the townships in South Africa?
Good afternoon, John, and thank you for having me on the program. The challenges some of them are known to us. The wonderful news that we found in the research, and this is research conducted by Prof. Anastasia Mamabolo as well as Mrs. Matsepo Kwate. They found that the entrepreneurs in the townships are still very much thriving. So where they do have lack, they're able to find ways and exercise agency to be able to respond, right? So some of the things that they struggle with, for example, is access to resources, access to operating spaces, access to finance, access to networks. So those are some of the challenges. And while a school like ourselves with other actors can contribute, we found that in the early stages of entrepreneurial activity, a lot of these entrepreneurs tap into family, friends, and even the community itself. So community embeddedness is something that enables them to be able to succeed, especially in those early stages. As they grow, they are then able to access much more formal structures in terms of business development support, agencies that are there, government opportunities for support that they are able to access, especially as they become aware of what is available to them. And then obviously educational institutions like ourselves or those that provide skills that help them to also be able to succeed or grow their business.
Has there been a change in funding for township businesses? Because forever, it seems, who wants to give money to the risky, I guess, would be the argument. But these businesses are just being so successful and they're employing so many people.
That is true. And I mean, if you think about it, 2.5 million people are employed by these entrepreneurs that are in the township. We're talking about economic activity of about 900 million. So has funding changed? I would say it is changing. What enables success is for preparation for some of the individuals in terms of readiness for finance or readiness for capital. So you are right, a lot of funding institutions are still risk-averse in our country, and so it makes it very difficult. But people are able to access grants, for example. There are many organizations that provide things like that, or loans that speak to that level of entrepreneurial activity. But it's about a entrepreneur understanding their business so well, being ready to pitch it, being able to understand, in fact, what the requirements of funding are. Because we also know that funding can really create frustrations for a business that's not truly ready and maybe even take away from what the entrepreneur was trying to build. So a big job that we do as institutions is to co-locate, I guess, entrepreneurial ecosystem actors, including those that have the funds, so that they are able to share with our entrepreneurs what is needed. And then we're also able to put together educational material so that they think very carefully about what it is that is needed to get ready, and when they get those funds, how to manage them for the purposes of growing their business.
It's all very well talking about education. Education is expensive, and travel to that education is expensive. How are we solving that problem?
I guess digital is always a lever here. We may be a school that maybe is perceived as this would be expensive, but GIBS really invests in social education, and we have been successful in working with a lot of foundations globally that are interested in building the capacity and the capability of entrepreneurs. So a lot of the programs that we run are actually funded programs, which then makes it easy for people to access those programs. We've also built digital solutions where people don't have to physically be here, but we can run things online and they still learn.
Did GIBS Business School learn from the entrepreneurs? I know there's a big headline about the how they work together. Entrepreneurs unexpectedly collaborate. Is that something that you have learned on how to run businesses?
Yes, indeed. Cooperation or collaboration is at the core of how GIBS does business. Think about it. We are in the the most southern part of the continent, right? And yet we are a school in Africa that really wants to make an impact on the whole continent. It becomes imperative that we then partner with relevant business schools or even different institutions that have different capabilities that complement what we do. In that way, we are then able to make an impact in East Africa or in West Africa.
But I also mean in training business people. You say that you'll be hard find informal economy that prioritizes outrunning or crushing the competition. It's almost what you get told. You got to be the biggest and the best. Whereas these entrepreneurs in the township, they're doing things differently. They're helping each other.
They definitely do. So a lot of what we found is they learn from each other. So they form peer learning networks. They also even share resources. An example that is shared in the research is how sometimes they even lend each other stock so that they're able to fulfill orders and then replace that stock, or, for example, share vehicles, right? So some of these lessons do find themselves into the classroom at Gibbs. We learn both from big corporates in the cases that are taught, but we also learn from those enterprises that may be small but have very high impact from a learning perspective in how business can be done differently. I also believe, I think on the continent, a lot of businesses have understood the importance of partnering and co-opetition, even more than I think maybe in the global north, because it's a matter of necessity.
If somebody wants to read this research, where can they find it?
It's on the Gibbs website, www.gibbs.co.za.
Lerato Mahlasela is the Managing Executive of Corporate Education at Gibbs Business School. That's the Township Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, the entrepreneurs' lived experiences. As you heard, you can find it on the Gibbs website. You're with SAFM, it's 5 o'clock.
Thank you, John. Bester laptop case dismissed and bail granted to former Cape Town MMC. Good day to you. Thabo Bester's urgent application to be given access to a laptop and a modem in prison have been dismissed by the High Court in Pretoria as not urgent. The convicted murderer and rapist made an urgent application for a laptop as he indicated it would help him prepare for his upcoming deportation case. Bester was arrested in Tanzania and brought back to South Africa with his girlfriend, Dr. Nandipha Makudumana. The pair had skipped the country after Bester's prison break scandal was exposed. He represented himself in court today. The case involving former mayoral committee member in the city of Cape Town, Malusi Boy, and 9 others will resume on the 16th of next month after bail totaling 1.5 million rand was granted. Boy himself received bail of 250,000 rand at the Cape Town Magistrates Court. The accused faced charges including money laundering and fraud, among others. The alleged offences took place during Boy's tenure in the Housing Directorate. Tenders amounting to 1 billion rand were allegedly signed off and awarded to 3 companies linked to gang boss Ralph Stanfield. The other 9 accused have been granted bail of between 25 and 250,000 rand each. The Gauteng Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has called on all municipalities across the province to closely monitor water systems to determine whether the plans they've implemented to improve the infrastructure are working. Gauteng Cocta MEC Jacob Mamabolo.
Municipalities do have plans, but it's one thing to have plans. It's another whether plans are working. And that is why with Rand Water we have mandated them to do monitoring. Pose the water MPs and say, okay, we are seeing progress. We are seeing reductions. We are saving more water. In addition to infrastructure maintenance, it's also the need to urgently expand infrastructure.
Struggle veteran Amos Masondo says criticism against the former Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan has been unjustified. He made the comments ahead of the memorial service that is being held by the ANC for Gordhan at the Johannesburg City Hall.
Everybody knows that the dogs bark at a moving vehicle. So there have been lots of criticism that they've made over a period, but most of it can be reduced to an attempt by those who were in support of corruption and corrupt practices, basically reacting and seeking to justify their negative actions. As I was saying, Pravin is truly a hero of our struggle, in my view. And I think that is done a lot.
New reports on the state of democracy around the world have painted a generally bleak picture of increasing disengagement and political violence. The Stockholm-based intergovernmental organisation, International IDEA, said between mid-2020 and mid-2024, the results of 1 in 5 elections were rejected by a losing candidate or party. Idea's Kevin Casa Zamora suggested stronger democracy would help prevent wars.
I'm absolutely positive that a fully democratic Russia would have not invaded Ukraine. There would have been enough checks and balances to prevent the war of aggression against Ukraine from happening. So that tells you how important investing in the support for democracy is for regional and global peace.
The top story, Thabo Bester's urgent application to be given access to a laptop and a modem in prison has been dismissed by the High Court in Pretoria as not urgent. The convicted murderer and rapist made an urgent application for a laptop as he indicated it would help him prepare for his upcoming deportation case. That's SAFM News. I'm Greg Goos.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
On his life and contribution to the struggle.
To Linksfield Road, the M12 eastbound in Boksburg has a crash before Atlas Road exit. The M1 southbound is queuing through Crown Interchange towards Boysons, and the N1 northbound in Midrand slow moving towards Samrand Road. In KZN, the M4 is roadworks with traffic restrictions at Tongaat Beach, so expect delays. The N3 westbound has roadworks reported. The left lane is closed at Ashburton. The M7 has roadworks with traffic restrictions towards the Bel Air Road, Wakesley Road Junction, and the N3 has roadworks with traffic restrictions between Pyramids Hotel and Van Reenen Village. In Cape Town, the M5 northbound slow moving towards Koeberg Interchange. The N2 Nelson Mandela Boulevard outbound slow moving towards Hospital Bend. The M3 inbound is slow moving towards Hospital Bend. The N7 Jakes Havel Drive southbound slow moving towards Voortrekker Road, and Francie van Zyl Drive in Parow has a crash at Delaray Street. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
Mzansi, what has become of our country? Gender-based violence is eating our moral fabric, and we can no longer afford to turn a blind eye. This violence affects us all, occurring in various forms including femicide, which is the intentional killing of a woman because of her gender. It takes place anywhere, anytime, even in our own safe spaces at home. Working together with social partners through the National Strategic Plan on GBVF, the government aims to create a GBVF-free South Africa. As we acknowledge the gains from our 30 years of freedom and democracy, let us also work together to break the cycle of GBVF on our home ground. Call the 24-hour GBVF Command Center number on 0800 428 428 or text *120 *7867#. A message from the GCIS.
TUT Matatanta ladies are focused on full points as they chase a suitable position in the top half. But UWC want to triumph and pressurize log leaders. This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. Catch Mzansi Queens of the beautiful game. TUT Matatanta Ladies FC versus UWC Ladies FC on Saturday 21 September at 8:30 a.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Devastated by the brutal murder of his wife, Jon Luther returns in the second season of Luther to policing in a different world. With his old unit gone, Luther finds himself working in the newly created Serious and Serial unit, headed by former police complaints officer Martin Schenk. And now, a strange and mysterious masked man wanders the streets of London, carrying out ritualistic murders in historic locations, working his way up to one final masterpiece. Immerse yourself in a world-class drama with Luther Season 2, Mondays to Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Starts Tuesday the 10th of September on S3. Channel your inner drama with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up. S3.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
9 minutes past 5, you with SAFM. I'm John in for Ashraf. It's the National Pulse. Good afternoon to you. Good evening to you now. It's It's late already. Coming up later on, we're going to talk to the founder of Upliftment Program and co-creator of the High Five series in our winning feature. We're going to get an update on the Thabo Bester case. He approached the High Court in Pretoria requesting access to a laptop and a modem, as you heard Greg talking to you about. We will talk to a legal analyst about why he would be allowed to have that. But now, let's talk about the water issue in Johannesburg. It's an ongoing story that there's a lack of water this time, and it's affecting the hospitals mainly, but the area around the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital also being affected by the water shortage. Action SA in Johannesburg is concerned about this. So the party strongly believing that Johannesburg Water should be an agile entity, they say, with capacity to tackle water crises head-on, especially in the institutions of health, where every drop counts. Vangani Monyai is the chairperson of the Environmental and Infrastructure Services Department in Johannesburg, and he joins us now. Good afternoon to you. Vangani. Tell us about your worries about the water.
Yes, how are you, John? Am I audible?
Yeah, perfectly. Go ahead.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, you're speaking to Vangani Munyaya. I'm also the chairperson of the EISD committee.
Correct.
So, yes, we're also concerned about the ongoing water crisis that has been happening across the city. But now, in this instance, now we'll be focusing more on what happened recently in around Johannesburg Hospital.
Okay.
Yes. So I think on Sunday we saw through the statement from Johannesburg Water, who they are saying that there is a problem about the issue of water around the area, where they are saying that is due to insufficient supply of water from the bulk supply. In this instance, is rainwater and also the high demand. So, but what surprised us here is that last week we attended a Gauteng provincial imbizo, water imbizo that was hosted by the deputy minister and also the premier of Gauteng. And then part of the commitment there was also rainwater officials, and then they even confirmed that no, we are currently providing enough water to all the municipalities.
I spoke to Randwater yesterday. They said it's not a Randwater problem.
Yes. But now, from the statement that we have received here from Johannesburg Water, they are now blaming their own bulk supplier, and in this instance is Randwater. So remember that my portfolio as a chairperson, Johannesburg Water, they do account to our committee. So we think like we'll be also requesting a meeting between Johannesburg Water and also the rainwater, so that we must not have this blame game now. Because now the other side they say yes, we have enough water. The other side they say no, we don't have enough water from our bulk supplier.
So what will you do now? Just call a meeting. So that's going to take a week?
No, remember that once we have a meeting, then Johannesburg Water. Remember that. There's no meeting between Johannesburg Water and Randwater, so everyone is just issuing his or her own statement. You understand?
But they were together. Hold on. They were together at the Imbizo, right?
Yes. But we're talking about what happened now around the area of Johannesburg Water.
So as far as you know, Johannesburg Water are not sitting down with Randwater and vice versa and having a conversation about this.
Yes, but based on the statement, remember that the statement that Johannesburg Water have just issued now, they are blaming what? Rainwater.
Okay.
And then remember that at the end of the day, the residents are the ones that were suffering on this issue.
When is the meeting being held?
Tomorrow we're having a council meeting, and then after the council meeting, then I will speak with the committee members, and then maybe we can request an urgent meeting should the problem not resolve. But remember, this is not only one area. Last week we faced the same area. I think it's in Project Lane, where the residents have not been having water for almost a week. So
when you say urgent meeting, is that Thursday, Friday, or is it Monday next week, or is it the middle of October?
Remember that I have to consult with the committee members tomorrow. Because tomorrow we're having an ordinary council meeting.
I can't imagine they're going to say no, we don't need to talk about water. So, if as the chairman, when are you going to say you want a meeting?
Remember, because this problem is now spreading all over the city, so we're gonna request an urgent meeting.
Yes, when?
With
Friday.
No, tomorrow, then I'll request that meeting. Then Johannesburg, the water, then they will confirm to us when are they going to have a meeting. Once we have sent them an email, then they will come back to us. Yes.
With your experience, how quickly do these meetings happen?
Remember that this is an urgent matter, so it doesn't. It's not. We can't wait for our calendar meeting. But now, because there's an urgent, so now the officials have to come and account to us, so that we can understand what is the main problem.
Okay, explain to me what happens in this meeting, right? So now, in my head, I've got you sitting at the head of the table, and you've got Rand Water on this side, you've got Joburg Water on the other side, representatives from the entities, and then you go, guys, what's happening? Tell me what happens.
So remember that Rand Water will explain to us that this is what we do. We supply water to Johannesburg Water Reservoir, and then Johannesburg Water, they will say that from our reservoirs, this is how we distribute water. You understand? But the issue now is that we have a statement that comes from Johannesburg Water that they are saying there's a problem. The problem is what? It's from the bulk supply. You understand? So now we're only relying on one statement. So now we want both sides of the story.
Okay, I get that. So now you've got the story, right? What happens? Then do you just say, guys, pull up your socks and fix the problem, and you walk out of the meeting?
No, we don't do that. Remember that Johannesburg Water, they will make commitments. You understand? They say that the problem will take so many days or so many hours to resolve the problem. Then we can able to hold them accountable on. But remember, another problem that we have discovered is that we have an aging infrastructure. Because now, as we speak, I think Johannesburg Water is sitting at more than 11 billion aging infrastructure. Yes. But it will be much better also Johannesburg Water also to come clear to the residents, that the resident can know that, you know what, we have an aging infrastructure from our side when we distribute water to our residents.
That falls on you. That infrastructure hasn't been fixed. That's your job now, right?
Yes. That's my job, yes.
So does that all water infrastructure in Johannesburg, does that fall on Johannesburg Water?
Yes. In terms of the distribution, yes, it fall under Johannesburg Water.
Okay. So are you going to, so in this meeting they say we're going to fix, this is the timeline, we're going to fix it. If they don't follow through with that, which they haven't done previously, and let's give other previous regimes a benefit of the doubt here, they haven't followed through. What will you do if they don't do what they've promised?
Remember, there are processes in place that the city have put place. Remember that.
What are you going to do as the chairperson of the EAISD?
Yes. Remember that they have to account to this to us. But if they don't account to us, then maybe we can take it to the city manager, because at the end of the day, the city manager is the one that all those senior officials from Johannesburg Water, they account to the city manager. Yes.
Okay. The alternatives. It's all very well not having the infrastructure, but is Johannesburg Water supplying trucks to the residents that have been days without water and to the hospitals?
Yes, they do supply, but remember that the alternative is not a long-term solution. You understand?
No, I get it.
Yes, so they are supplying water tankers, but they are not enough. So if we have a problem like this, we cannot just run to the alternative. Yes, they have been supplying water tankers, but those water tankers, they are not enough to supply the area. So hence we want to find the solution now while they are also supplying with the alternate in terms of the water tankers. Yes.
Councillor, there are elections coming up in a couple of years' time. Action SA, on social media at least, is getting a lot of flack. As the chairperson of this, why don't you stand up and turn Johannesburg into a construction site and say we've got this problem and we are now demanding that this infrastructure get changed in the next 2 years, and you can stand up in 26 and go, look what we have done as Action SA. Joburg is a construction site. Look at this.
Yes. Remember, I was elected, I think, 2 weeks back. So part of our commitment is that I think next month we'll be leaving our strat plan, in which all those entities, Johannesburg Water, City Power, Pick It Up, and also Environment, they will come with their business plan to present to us, so that this is what we are going to do going forward. But remember that as a portfolio committee chairperson, together with the members of the committee, we'll be holding them accountable. But I think maybe when we arrive there, maybe we're going to have another meeting in which we'll be visiting all the area where residents have been affected with the issue of water. For example, it's not about only the area of Parktown only. We have an area like in Randburg where they are also facing the same problem. So we'll be visiting all those areas, and then will have a detailed report, and then the officials will then commit based on what we have observed. Yeah.
Do you interact with province as well? Do you get involved with the provincial entities on this issue?
Remember, I think based on the imbizo that we attended last week, where the provincial government invited all the municipalities, I think maybe going forward, because now if Johannesburg Water can come, remember, if Johannesburg Water can come back and say that, you know what, yes, because of the aging infrastructure, we need so much money to raise so that we can able to address this problem. Then maybe through the engagement with the provincial department and also national department, maybe they can come on board and also help. But remember, once we have set with our strat plan, then we can able to bring back to the commission that this is what are the commitments from Johannesburg Water regarding attending the issue of aging infrastructure.
All right, so you're in your job for a couple of weeks. Good luck. It's a big job you've got. Vungani Manya is the chairperson of the Environmental and Infrastructure Services Department in the city of Johannesburg. A huge job. Let's see what comes out of this call for an urgent meeting. We'll catch up with him again on Monday and see what's come out of it.
This September, S3 brings you thought-provoking nature dockies that will change the way in which you view the world. Temperature Rising tells the story of three activists as they grapple with what thinking globally and acting locally means as they fight the barriers to climate action. Airs Sunday the 8th of September. Channel your inner activist with our selection of premium dockies Sundays at 5 p.m. only on S3. Open up. When self-made billionaire Wilton Knight rescues police detective Lieutenant Michael Long after a near-fatal shot to the face, he gives him a new identity and a new name, Michael Knight. Paired with the unique Knight Industries 2000 aka kit, they are brought in during situations where direct action might provide the only feasible solution. Kusazo Shuba and Michael Knight and Kit are ready to rise to the occasion. Channel your best retro with Knight Rider, weekdays at 12 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You're listening to the National Pulse on SAFM.
John in for Ashraf, who's on a little break. It's the National Pulse here on SAFM, so I'm looking after the show for a little while. Let's talk about convicted murderer and rapist Thabo Bester. He approached the High Court in Pretoria requesting access for a laptop and internet access to prepare for his upcoming deportation case. Bester is currently facing charges of escaping from the Mangaung Correctional Centre in Bloemfontein in May a couple of years ago. Went to Tanzania with his girlfriend. They were arrested and deported to South Africa. The trial of Bester and several prison officers accused of helping Bester escape has been set for February of next year. Malusi Kulu is a legal analyst from Donda Attorneys. Malusi, is this regular that a prisoner has access to a laptop and internet as well?
Good afternoon to you, John, and to the listeners at home. You know, when I first saw him applying for this, I think it was in July, I was very interested. So what I found out was there was a case last year. It's a case for Mr. Mbalenhle Sidney Ntuli, if I'm not mistaken. So he applied that in court, in High Court, that he gets access to a laptop so that he can be able to study. Mm-hmm. The Correctional Services was saying, no, we don't want to give you that access. You can't have that access. But he succeeded in High Court in Gauteng, and it was later taken to Supreme Court of Appeal. And the Supreme Court of Appeal agreed that, you know, for his right to education, Section 29 in the Constitution, he has that right. And not every course, though, but because he was doing, I think, a data processing course, they say he can get an access. But let's not, compare apples to bananas. In this case, Thabo is saying he wants to prepare for his case, not to study. Remember, if you check his background, he did have a laptop before. It was for studying. Obviously, it was to communicate to the outside world, and allegedly to escape. I must be careful on that because it's still alleged anyways. But here he's saying he wants to prepare for the case. If it goes to the Constitution, Section 35, subsection 3, paragraph B, it says every accused has the right to facilities to prepare for for a case and adequate time. It starts with adequate time and facilities to prepare for a case. But that right can be obviously, limited according to Section 36 of the Constitution, because for security, the state must be careful about what they are doing. So I think that is why he was refused it. But it was also said it was not an urgent thing. So because
he hasn't, from what I've read, it's been thrown out of court just because it's not urgent. It's not that he hasn't been denied it; it's just not urgent. So they'll look at it later, I imagine.
Yeah, he can try. I mean, his case is in February 2025. He can try on a not urgent basis to apply for that. But I still have a view that, even if it does, based on his history, based on the circumstances of his case, I think any court and any judicial officer will say, yes, you have a right to, prepare for your case. You have a right to accuse and challenge evidence according to the Constitution. But you have your attorney who can prepare for you, who you will consult. But for you to have a laptop based on the allegations and based on the experience that the correctional services has with you, it's a bit of a risk to just give you a laptop.
He does seem to be representing himself a lot in court. Will he have an attorney on the 10th of February to do this representation?
I think he will. I think he will because obviously he'll have enough time now to, maybe if he was lacking financial resources, maybe he will get that. But he seems to be a person, from what I gather, who's able to, do things himself, even when he has an attorney or an advocate, like we saw in the last couple of weeks. He even wanted to interfere when his advocate was presenting. So you can see that he might check if he can present himself, and then he might try his chances. But it's such a unique situation, John. It's something we've never seen before.
I know from computers, would it not be possible to give him a computer, give him the access he's asking for, but limit the access to certain places? Or is it just based on that history, there's not a chance?
I think what maybe can happen, if a middle ground can be found, now that you're suggesting that, I think maybe they can suggest that the laptop is allocated at a certain place which they can monitor, because it's for trial purposes. It's not to get on Facebook.
Yes. So have a guard looking over his shoulder all the time.
Yes, all the time. Ironically, now I'm talking about Facebook. He's a Facebook rapist. Remember?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So even before he was convicted, him and an access to social media, it's kind of dangerous. Not kind of dangerous. It is dangerous.
Yes. All right, so that history is not going to work for him very much.
I don't think so. If he wanted to study, even maybe it will be on a limited basis, because we're living in a technological age now.
So the answer is no. So this is an exceptional case for an exceptional case.
I believe the answer will be no. Now that we're talking about his case, which he's convicted for, remember, as we introduced him, he's a convicted rapist and a murderer.
Yeah.
So, and he was using technology at the time. So it's someone that you can't really give access. So, remember, John, he had a birthday when he was in New York as a Motepe, and all these high-profile people were in a hall somewhere in a luxurious place. So this guy, when it comes to technology, he can do anything and anything. So I think the courts will be careful to grant him his request.
Lucy Kulu, thank you very much. Legal analyst from Donda Attorneys helping us out with that. You are there, SAFM. It's 27 minutes past 5.
Do great solutions start with good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
All right, let's go back in time a little bit. Earlier on, I got a phone call. I made the notes here. Was it from Prince? Prince phoned up later. Stanley phoned up initially, and Stanley phoned and told us this heart-sore story about his twins who want to go to a matric farewell. Prince phoned up directly after that and said, no, Stanley's told the story before, not only on our station, but on other radio stations, and you have some reactions to that.
Hi, Ashraf. This is Anonymous. The guy that called about his twins and the matric dance and all that. He mentioned that part of the money was for accommodation. And you didn't ask him accommodation for what. So I'm assuming you know what the accommodation is for, because I'm kind of curious. What is the accommodation for?
Good afternoon, John. John, schools must do away with this matric dance. It's nonsensical. It's heartbreaking when you lose a lot of money for that matric dance, then your child fails. My daughter was they had a matric dance last year. The two friends, failed after losing so much money on expensive dresses. It's useless, this thing. We are not equal. We are not equal in the society. They must do all these things.
Oh, good afternoon, Brother John. Oh, Mr. John, this Stanley guy, he once cried during December. He said he had 3,800 in his wallet. He was going to buy clothes for his children. They robbed him. Guess what? People were crying, and then they wanted his account to donate money. He cried and said, "No, thank you very much, Kati." I think they just gave him money, maybe to drink if he's drinking, or buy drugs if he's using drugs. He likes to play on people's emotions. He will cry and say he get robbed. Very serious issues, man. This Stanley guy. All right, thanks, Brother John. Bongo Sundisa. Balindulo. Thanks, Brother John.
And we got time for one more voice note. This is a thing we were talking about earlier, is the big differences in salaries, how much the CEOs are being earned.
Good afternoon, John. In relation to CEOs earning a hefty salary, we must remember that some of these individuals are earning in foreign currency. So like you mentioned, 10 million rands a month would not even make $1 million or £1 million or even €1 million. So it's less than $1 million, it's less than £1 million, less than €1 million. At the end of the day, you must understand that some of these individuals are earning based off of what their holding company pays them, and the holding company may be paying them in a foreign currency. But of course, that's just my opinion, Daniel here in Bryanston.
$1 million a month. That's okay then. That's fine. That makes sense. No, it doesn't. It's 5:30.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
In the headlines of this hour, the NPA has confirmed that 10 people accused of tender fraud in the City of Cape Town's Human Settlements Department will appear alongside alleged gang boss Ralph Stanfield when the matter goes back to court next month. Thabo Bester's urgent application to be given access to a laptop and a modem in prison has been dismissed by the High Court in Pretoria, and dozens of Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon have been wounded by their pages exploding in what Lebanese media have described as an unprecedented hostile act. More on that story and other news at 6 o'clock.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N3 southbound in Alexandra has a crash reported near London Road. The N12 eastbound in Boksburg has a crash before Atlas Road exit. Kloorkop Road eastbound has delays at Zierfontein Avenue in Pretoria. Mabopani Highway northbound has delays towards Theo Martins. The N14 northbound has delays towards the R101 interchange, and the N4 Witbank Highway westbound has delays towards the N1 highway. In KZN, the N2 southbound is slow moving towards Spaghetti Junction. The N3 eastbound has roadworks. The right lane's closed between Sadara and Hilton exit, and the N3 in Escort has roadworks reported with traffic restrictions near the Escort Ultra City services. In Cape Town, on the N2 outbound, a police incident reported before the N7 Jakes Hadwell Drive exit. The N1 outbound is slow moving towards Kuburg interchange. The M3 northbound has a crash reported before Struben Road, and the N7 Jakes Hadwell Drive southbound is slow moving towards Voortrekker Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
To me, good afternoon to you. Springbok squad, have we got it already?
Yes, we definitely do have it. And head coach Rassie Rasmus has made 10 changes to the starting 15 for the Rugby Championship showdown against Argentina on Saturday. Sama Murat will captain a reshuffled side as the Boks aim to secure their first championship title since 2019. Only 5 players, including Oxen Che, Ruan Norkia, Jasper Visser, Andre Pollard and Jesse Kriel, retain their starting positions from the side that defeated New Zealand 18-12 in Cape Town. Lukhanyo Am and Malcolm Marx have been promoted to the starting lineup, while Evan Itzebeth, who will equal Victor Matfield's Springbok record of 127 caps if he plays, is shifted to the bench. Apalele Fassi returns at fullback with Kurt Learense and Makazola Mapimpi on the wings, with Kobus Reinach and Pollard pairing up at half-back. Then in cricket, Proteas ODI captain Temba Bavuma has been ruled out of the first ODI against Afghanistan due to illness. Aiden Markram will stand in as captain, and Aiden says that they definitely respect Afghanistan.
Seriously, they just made a World Cup semi-final, and they've got world-class players in their team and conditions that will suit them. So by no means just expecting to rock up here and beat them 3-0. I don't think cricket works like that at all. So like I addressed just before you got here, it's a big opportunity for us as a younger team, but also going to be an exciting challenge to take on. So hoping we can play some good cricket and the results go in our favour, but from that, either way of the result, either side of the result, there'll be lots of growth for us as a squad.
Then a lot of football action to look forward to. First stop is the Tshwane Derby, where Mamelodi Sundowns kick off their Betway Premiership campaign against SuperSport United tonight at 6:30. Sundowns defender Aubrey Mudiba says that given the magnitude of the derby, Matsatsantsa should not be taken for granted.
Yeah, we know Tshwane Derby are very, it's about breaking rights in Pretoria. It's not going to be easy. I managed to be on both sides when I was SuperSport. Played against Sundowns. I was always looking forward, to that game because these are our rivals from the same area. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I think we're ready for the task. They haven't played in a long time, but that doesn't count. The derbies are different, derbies are special, and we're looking forward to that game. We're gonna put up a fight. We're gonna make sure we try by all means to get all the points, and hopefully we can do that on the day. But derbies are very special.
Then Champions League action returns tonight. It sees Juventus kicking off against PSV, while Liverpool away to AC Milan as they look to bounce back to winning ways after their first loss under Arne Slot in the Premier League. But he believes it was a chance to expose the things the team needs to work on. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich clash with Zagreb, Real Madrid hosts Stuttgart, and Sporting versus Lille. Also, some League Cup action. Manchester United high on confidence after they win the past weekend. They play Barnsley at 9 p.m. and Erik ten Hag says that they're definitely taking this competition very seriously because a trophy is a trophy, regardless of the competition. Then Manchester City midfielder Rodri says that players could go on to strike due to the expanded calendar. City play in the 36-team Champions League, which all clubs play 8 league fixtures before going on to the next round. City also will compete in the expanded Club World Cup at the end of the season, meaning players will play more or less 60 to 70 games in one season.
Yeah, I think we're close to that. Because it's easy to understand. If we're asking something, and I think it's something general, I think you ask any player, he will say the same. It's not like the opinion of Rodri or whatever. No, I think it's a general opinion of the players. And if it keeps this way, it will be a moment that we have no other option. I really think, but let's see. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's something that worries us because we are the guys.
In tennis, Emma Raducanu got her Korea Open campaign off to a winning start with a hard-fought 7-6, 7-6 victory over American Peyton Stearns today. The 2021 U.S. Open champion Raducanu, ranked 70th in the world, had to dig deep and claimed that win in 2.5 hours. And before I go, John, I think if I were to sit down with Stanley, I would ask him one question.
Yes.
How did you forget that you need to change your name every single time you call?
If you're going to scam people, be different every time, because then you can scam them twice.
Now everyone knows that it's Stanley. Is that Stanley?
Yeah, you get an email or an SMS from Stanley going, help, I need this different Stanley. No, it's not. Yeah, I get the procurement scam all the time. It's a different email every time. Don't be the same guy.
Stanley, you had one job. Anyway, it's a joke.
It's terrible that you and I know how to scam better than Stanley does. And Stanley's the scammer. What's happening? Okay.
All right, with that said...
Do yours, ready, and go.
With that said, it is a wrap from my side.
Who says talking never solves anything? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Spurs set their sights on 3 points and trust their strategy to contain their visitors.
And there's the flick, and there's the goal. Pedro Porro.
While the Bees have a huge responsibility to illustrate that if they play impressive football for the entire duration, they will march out of the pitch a happy outfit.
Narrow angle, hits the post, back to Mbeumo, 1-0.
This is the Premier League. Catch the thrilling contest between Tottenham Hotspur FC and Brentford FC on Saturday 21 September at 3:30 p.m. live on SABC3. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Welcome to the team, Andile.
Thank you.
What will be your first order of business?
Well, ensuring our greatest assets are taken care of.
Our vehicle fleet?
No, our employees. You see, I want them to feel confident in our company's employee benefits, and Old Mutual Corporate is perfect for that. They take care of everything, from retirement benefits to health and group risk solutions, consulting, and more.
Visit oldmutual.co.za/employee benefits and go from questions to solutions for your employees with Old Mutual Corporate. Old Mutual Life Assurance Company SA Limited is a licensed FSP and life insurer. T's and C's apply.
This September, S3 brings you thought-provoking nature dockies that will change the way in which you view the world. Temperature Rising tells the story of 3 activists as they grapple with what thinking globally and acting locally means as they fight the barriers to climate action. Airs Sunday the 8th of September. Channel your inner activist with our selection of premium dockies Sundays at 5 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
Moneyweb market updates in 20 minutes or so. Jim and Miyaha, what's going to be happening in the show?
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon to the listeners. It's going to be an interesting show today. We're going to be taking a look at some numbers from Hyprop. They gave us their full year numbers for the financial year ended 2024. We're going to look at those numbers with the CEO and try and understand what's been happening within the company. Then we have a conversation with the team at My Broadband around the Starlink debacle. We've heard a lot of rumors, a lot of back and forth. There's been conversations from ICASA saying there's no application. There's been conversations from Elon Musk saying there is an application for a license. Even the president's involved. So we're going to get to the bottom of that and try and understand what's happening there. Then we've got a conversation around Itala Bank, the bank that doesn't yet have a banking license. It's been struggling to get one. It looks as though the Prudential Authority has come out with a couple more reasons as to why they didn't renew that exemption for Itala. And we also know that, of course, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority has since suspended Itala's license as well from that perspective. So we're going to look at that, see what's happening there. There's a lot of client deposits and a lot of client funds that sit within that bank, and we're going to just unpack what that means for clients and where we stand at the moment with that. And then because it's Tuesday, we've also got a Property Tuesday feature. We're going to be taking a look at the real cost of renting a property. There's hidden costs and things that we need to understand beyond just the lease agreement or the lease amounts that are agreed to with the landlord. We're going to be speaking to property specialists around that and trying to understand what some of those costs look like. But before we get to that, the markets have had quite an interesting day. A green day. It looks as though markets are very optimistic about tomorrow's interest rate conversation from the US's perspective. Asian markets were almost all in the green, with the exception of the Shanghai Composite and the Nikkei in Tokyo. Tokyo was down about 1.5%. That was offset by Hong Kong gains at 1.2%. Sydney was up about 0.33%, and the Chinese index was down 0.5%. European markets were all in the green. CAC 40 in France up 0.5%, DAX in Germany 0.2% in the green, and the FTSE in London 0.4% in the green. US markets are in the green at the moment as well. Nasdaq up 0.2%, while the S&P is up about 0.4%. Our own markets could not resist and also performed exceptionally well. It looks as though the optimism is definitely filtering through here. Financial stocks were up 1.3%, industrials up 1.1%, resources up 1.2%. As a result of that, the all share finished up 1.25%, and the top 40 was up 1.2%. The rand's a little weaker against the US dollar. $1 will cost you 17 rand 65 cents at the moment. £1 British pound will be about 23 rand 24 cents. €1 19 rand 63. $1 Australian dollar 11 rand 92 cents. Those that are looking at commodities pricing, the gold price is at $2,565 an ounce, while the Brent crude price is at $73.52 a barrel. A quick look at Bitcoin, it's back above $60,000 a coin there. It's up about 5% at the moment. Ethereum at around $2,387 there. Price of Bitcoin in rands is at almost 1.1 million. It's at 1,078,000. So we've got lots to dig into when we come back a little later on. But for now, John, back to you.
Look forward to all of that because I understand it if you explain it to me. Thank you very much. It's just about 5:45. Let's go to the calls. 086 000 2032. Joe is in Rustenburg. Hello, Joe. What do you want to say?
How's it? How are you, man? And I hope thanks for a good show. Look, my take was on the what was said about the kids at Paul School who performed something to do with slavery.
Yes, they were auctioning children as slaves. Yeah.
Yeah, I need us to get to a point in this country where, when people are racist towards black people, and school kids, in different schools, do all these racial or racist things towards black kids, the schools even society tends to say they need to be rehabilitated, they must be spoken to, they must understand where we are as a country. When are we going to stop saying that? Because I feel like we are promoting and understanding that these kids have done such a thing. Because there's no child, as far as I'm concerned, with the way I grew up, where parents are the ones who are feeding these to their kids. There's no child, a white kid, who can decide to say, I want to be racist to a black child without seeing it from their parents. Now, I think the laws must come into effect where when your child takes your gun, John, and shoots at another person, they find you guilty. Now, I think we need to move towards that because we are going to continue promoting and understanding black people being put there. And we have to also, as black people, understand and be okay with being racially inclined, racially bracketed. When are we going to move from that?
So
saying this is wrong.
The kids must be re-educated, for lack of a better word, and go through a
Why
process.
re-educated? They know racism is wrong.
Well, they don't.
Why do we have
because
to re-educate them?
They don't because they're doing it. So therefore, they think it's okay. But my point
it's from the parents.
But I want to
the
carry
parents
on.
are
Yes,
the ones.
that's what I'm saying. So the parents must also go on the same disciplinary process as their children do, so that they don't tell their children that it's okay.
But what about fining the parents? People needs to be. We can't be okay. There's this DA guy from Parliament who was saying black people are baboons. Yes. We are okay. We move past it. These white kids in Pretoria did the same thing. Oh, we are okay. It's always the black child, the black person that must understand and not be somehow. A white farmer gets killed. The whole nation, radio stations make noise about it. Can we look at what measures can be put in place? And I'm not saying that we should be killing or being racially inclined. Can we look at a proper punishment, even if through courts, to saying when a child does this, how can we hold the parents accountable and liable? Because it comes from somewhere.
Yep, Joe in Rustenburg. Thank you very much. Mvusi Wekaya in the Eastern Cape. Hello.
My brother.
Go ahead.
Look, I have a proposal for you guys.
Okay.
The discussion around the CEO and pay and remuneration for other executives is quite a technical matter. And we're not going to have a conversation about it if we use the social media way of structuring narratives. I think you guys should invite your business journalists who write about salary remuneration for executives, or even invite any agents, private companies, that are responsible for recruiting executives, so that we understand this thing. Because my understanding is that the total package is communicated wrongly to us, the public, when they just give us the compound amount.
Well, I asked that specifically. I asked that specifically about there's money in the bank versus all the other perks and benefits. The bottom line is that was included in the lower workers' packages as well. They were looking at the total package that a lower worker gets, and that discrepancy, that the difference is so large, and that's the issue.
Have you realized, though, that when there's narratives or conversations about the packages of both the workers and the bosses, when it comes to the bosses, the focus is to compound the pay, the package. But when it comes to us, the workers, we take the monthly pay and confuse the two.
Because you don't get the perks. You don't get the benefits and all the other lovely things, and a Mercedes, and you get a housing subsidy, and you don't get share options, all those kind of things. That's all included, and rightly so.
There are workers in the private sector who get share options.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying to you.
Not the teller at Woolworths, they're not.
No, it's not a general rule, yes. That's why I'm saying let's get a person who works with this thing to explain it to us.
We will get somebody.
I like that. Thanks a lot.
Okay? We will get somebody to try and explain why CEOs earn so much money and why that discrepancy exists. Selo in Mokopane, you want to talk about scammers? Go ahead.
Mavola, thanks for taking my call. Sure. Look, I think the very same guy, last year, during December, Mavola.
Yeah, we were told.
Show.
Yeah.
Yes, on Kes's show. I intercepted this guy who scammed us on SAFM about his case, looking for, he got robbed there by Maraba Start and so forth. And the next day, he spoke to us, he called in on SAFM first day, and the next day he called Power FM. And I was listening at that time. I was like, whoa. This is the same guy.
Yeah.
I called Power FM. I said, please hold on your money and everything there. Vice versa, I called in cases producers like, we have a problem.
Yes.
Please investigate this guy because you can follow up this thing, this situation with the Power FM. Because I spoke to them.
Believe you. All right, we've got his number now, Selo. We know who he is.
Exactly. But I'm not so sure if this case followed up with what I requested to say. Is this guy, did he open the case like he said in Sunnyside? This case he said he's still verifying the information. And for my information, Mavola, you cannot take 2 months to verify the case was open. And then I think, but I will elevate this with this case. With this case, I'm disappointed with 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure if he did. But if he did not, I'll be disappointed because it just takes one phone call as a journalist to say, is the case open by this guy or the case of this nature has been opened in your station? So, but Mavola, let me finish. So, quickly. This guy, I think, is the same guy who's scamming us. He needs to be arrested. He needs to be arrested. And then I hear that he has been calling other radio stations too, and then they give him money. So let's get this guy, please.
Selo Makopela, thank you very much.
This Heritage Month, SAFM invites you to celebrate the rich tapestry of our nation's diverse cultures. From the vibrant beats of our traditional music to the flavors of our unique cuisines, every culture tells a story of strength, unity, and identity. We honor the heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for our freedom, reminding us that our shared heritage is what makes us strong. Together as one, we celebrate who we are because our culture is our identity. This Heritage Month, let's celebrate every culture, every story, and every voice. Jon Gericke on SAFM.
It's going to be a difficult conversation, and I'll tell you why. But first, let's talk to the co-founder the founder of the Upliftment Program, co-creator of the High Five series, Nikki Jackman. High Five is described as a groundbreaking series celebrating individuals and organizations that are doing good on the African continent. It sounds amazing. We're joined by the founder of the Upliftment Program, co-creator of High Five, Nikki Jackman, joins us now. Nikki, I just have to start by saying that when you were in Isidingo, you were like my screen crush. So this is very difficult. It's a very difficult thing.
I love that, John. Thank you. I think I'm blushing.
It's quite scary.
You know.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to just say immediately how wonderful it is that, 22 years ago, was part of that inception cast of Isidingo. And now I'm on the other side of the screen producing content that makes my heart sing.
This is important, right? This High Five series. Tell us about it.
Yes. So basically, after 20 years, the Upliftment Program has been doing a lot of grassroots work. And the wonderful Taryn Jolly, who's an extraordinary filmmaker, her and I realized that there's just not enough accolade for people who are doing extraordinary work. They don't get appreciated. And we were like, well, why don't we create a show, like a YouTube web series that everybody can access, that literally awards people in the show. So they're essentially being spotlighted and appreciated for the extraordinary service of the people or whichever it is they're serving here in our country.
How do you find the people?
That's a good question. We work in partnership with SA Good News, and there's a couple of journalists there that sort of constantly keep their ears to the ground as far as not-for-profits, caregivers, people, I'm just thinking of my own community right now on the garden route. If you just do a little bit of sifting, you quickly find out they are good doers. And then once we've done a little bit of a checkup that they're the right ones, then it's just a matter of bringing the film crew in and telling the story.
Yeah, that Good News guy has changed the way we're seeing South Africans as well. You're helping them, I guess, and working with them. These stories are now being told. It's such a good idea.
I truly believe, John, that South Africa is further along than we're giving ourselves credit for. And once we start telling more good news stories, once we start spotlighting people who are already making the change, we're encouraging not just the next generation, but we're encouraging all the others that are going, oh, what's the point? Because if you see somebody who has so little do so much, it makes you check yourself and go, well, how could I be a bit kinder?
You talk about highlighting the importance of facing challenges. It's not all just good news. So these people who are doing good have had some difficult work to get there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I'm going to think of one guy. We haven't actually even given his high five yet, but he's coming. And he's this extraordinary painter who cannot use his hands, so he's differently abled in that space. He paints with his with his mouth, and even from his wheelchair, he has done more to uplift his community than many people I know who say they can. So taking those people and going, thank you for who you are, for all the elderly that you uplift, even though you yourself are differently abled. Thank you. And maybe actually I concede this, John. My dream with High Five is that we're not just going to have the regular YouTube clips. We're going to actually create a bit of a campaign that goes with it, so that people wherever they are in their communities can do a high five as well, and then send us that footage so we can take it further.
Okay. So is High Five the upliftment program, or is it two separate things?
High Five is one of a pipeline of media production stories that we're going to start bringing to South Africa.
Okay.
Essentially, as a joy movement, we reached 50,000 beneficiaries in our first 20 years, and we realized that we still won't get it done quick enough. We won't bring joy to our country quick enough if we don't start doing media as well. And so hence the pipeline of TV shows. There's a number of them coming.
It's on YouTube. I'm imagining you do all the other things as well. You've got the TikToks to get the youth and the Facebooks to get the old people, and maybe a TV show?
Yes, and I mean, like I'll seed with you. There's a brand new reality TV show that should be coming out next year on SABC, and there's a couple of other ones in the pipeline. The idea is, if we as South Africans have already got so much to celebrate, the more we bring out those celebration stories, the more everybody will start being that. I actually said to your team member, Temba, today, I said, my favorite quote, be the vibe you wish to see.
We see that when the Springboks play. We see that when Bafana win. We see that happiness.
Yeah.
And I blame myself as part of this as well. If it bleeds, it leads. It's the bad news sells. Are you finding that good news is selling?
I am, and my argument always to the journalist world is, yes, I totally get the way we used to consume media, but if you look at the current trends and you look at things that go viral on social media, people want the good news story. They want the uplifting story. They want that, tell me the story as long as you can entertain me with it and make my dopamine, have its little flood, then I'm in. And good news stories do that.
You call yourself, what is it, a joy, just tell us, a joy facilitator.
And a joy facilitator.
What is a joy facilitator?
Let me try and give you a radio version of a joy facilitator. Whoever is listening right now,
okay, go.
I invite you to, for no reason whatsoever, uplift the corners of your mouth.
It just works.
And now, with just the experience of a small little smile on your cheeks, think of something that truly brings you joy and really let yourself go there. For me, I have two extraordinary feline friends and my neighbor's dog.
Yes.
And furry friends definitely do that. And so just reflecting on something already can bring you joy. But normally what we do is we go into a space and we facilitate a number of non-competitive games, dance, storytelling, theater, all the creative arts merged in one hour joy session so that whoever it is we're facilitating to is reminded of, oh wow, I can feel joy without being inebriated.
Sure. Nikki Jackman, where can we find this on YouTube? How do we search for it?
Easy. Just search High Five and the app. You can also go to our website and we have it listed on our front page, theup.org.za. And if you're looking for more joy in your life, an easy one-stop shop, we're building it at the moment, thejoymovement.org.
Nikki Jackman, thank you very much. Founder of the Upliftment Program and co-creator of High Five, brings an end to the program. Thank you very much to Katu, Tumi, Tebogo, Machabi, Vosani and Temba putting the show together. It's 6 o'clock.
Thank you again, John. In this news update, bail granted to former Cape Town MMC and Hezbollah fighters injured by exploding pages. Good evening. The NPA has confirmed that 10 people accused of tender fraud in the City of Cape Town's Human Settlements Department will appear alongside alleged gang boss Ralph Stanfield when the matter goes back to court on the 16th of October. Bail of 250,000 rand has been granted to former City of Cape Town Mayoral Committee member Malusi Boy, who's one of the accused in the case. The other 9 accused have been granted bail of between 25 and 250,000 rand each. They were allegedly involved in tender fraud amounting to more than 1 billion rand, allegedly granted to 3 companies belonging to Stanfield. The NPA's Eric